Depiction of the saddest sorrows of the human struggles to survive, to which most will never really know. Between 2000 and 2050, the proportion of the world's population over the age of 60 will double by about 11% to 22%. The absolute number of people aged 60 and over is expected to increase from 605 million to 2 billion over the same period. Around 6% of older people in developed countries have experienced some form of maltreatment at home. Abuse acts in institutions include physically restraining residents, depriving them of dignity. The abuse elderly suffer from may range from caregiver neglect, emotional and psychological abuse, financial exploitation, fraud, neglect, and physical abuse. It's a good place to say good afternoon. And thank you for staying with us here on Citizen FM 93.7 Abuja. You're listening to Perspectives, our roundtable platform for women. I'm your host, Rayo Omotoso. My friends call me Derry. Today we're shining our lenses on our senior citizens. I started with a sad song. You wanted to know why? It's because my short intro pretty much paints a very clear picture. The United Nations General Assembly Resolution 66 and 127 instituted World Elderly Abuse Awareness Day in December 2011. The resolution called on governments and concerned actors like you and I to design and carry out more effective prevention strategies and stronger laws and policies to address all aspects of elder abuse. Elder abuse is predicted to increase as many countries experience rapidly aging populations. And so to discuss this afternoon, I'm joined by an amazing human that I've spoken on the phone with in the last 2 weeks, but I've never met. But I'm delighted to meet you today, Debbie Walitemo. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Perfect.
Hey! She's the Products Manager, System Specs Technology Services Limited here in Abuja. And she's joined by my fellow Yellow Popo. My caller, her name is...
I'm Rachel.
She's so shy, she has even pushed the microphone to one side. Just speaking to the mic, it won't bite. So good afternoon, ladies. And so ironically, we're all young people in the studio this afternoon. But why are we talking about elderly people? You're about to find out. So thanks for staying with us. Thanks for joining us on Perspectives this afternoon. I look forward to a very robust conversation. And if it's something you've always wanted to speak about as well, the phone lines are here. You can dial 0818 22 22 205 or send us a message on WhatsApp 0818 22 22 206 here on Citizen FM. So without further ado, ladies, your letter caught my eye 2 weeks ago. And yes, it caught my eye because it's a subject I'm passionate about. And so in the course of the show, I like that something is being done in Nigeria. My intro mentioned developed countries. I know Nigeria is often categorized as a third world country, undeveloped. But and some people often make a joke that as undeveloped as Africans are, we don't put our elderly in institutions. We keep them at home as grandparents to look after the grandchildren, So our own elderly form of abuse is different from what we have in developed countries. But I'm very curious. Let's talk about some of the social, economic, and health challenges, which is what I've started with. In your experience, have you ever seen any form of elderly abuse here in Nigeria?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Except you don't live...
You have to speak into the mic so we can hear you.
Okay, so except you don't live in Nigeria.
Yes.
Or you don't live in the world, can you say you haven't experienced one?
True.
So in our daily interactions, basically, funny enough, Nigeria generally has this cultural morality that we take very good care of the elderly.
Yes, we do.
We generally have that
respect
yes, exactly, for the elderly. But you'll notice that in recent times, as generations change, priorities are changing.
Absolutely.
What you typically will see on a good day, see an elderly person carrying something heavy.
You can help.
Quickly help.
Yes.
We don't get to see so much of
that.
We
are very woke now.
We are too woke, if I may say.
Yes.
And, maybe these days we're also involved in our individuality.
Yes.
And so much of the socioeconomic challenges going on that what we used to pay close attention to,
yes,
we're no longer seeing.
Yes.
So it's more like an everyday thing.
Yeah.
My mom is an elder, so she qualifies fall within that category.
Yeah.
You see her go to a bank and she's having to struggle with same youth like us. Just little things like that make all the difference in our daily interactions. So elderly abuse is something you probably see just about everywhere.
Yes.
And us not paying close attention to it, not taking that time out to focus on it, placing a focus on it, just amplifies it all the more.
Yes.
And in recent times, one of the things we've had to look inwards as a team was in providing a solution to reach out on social issues, basically. A solution that supports social causes. We've also had to do some introspection, to shed a bit more light on and join the awareness on what's going on around abuse of the elderly.
Okay, so very well said. Mrs. Debbie Temo, I'm very curious. This is the first time you're doing, when people talk about CSR in Nigeria, I often, the first thing that comes to mind is Zenith Bank's CSR in Lagos. Adeogo, what's that there popular road in Lagos, VIO, something, Adeogo.
I'm not the Lagos person.
I'm a Lagos girl. So, but the very first time I heard of CSR, that's corporate social responsibility. Yes, is that companies, corporate organizations can actually, instead of, they can get half of their tax, reduced if they give back to the society. Okay. And so I was very curious, because everybody's either doing a signpost, or they're tarring a road somewhere, or they're going to orphanages. Mm-hmm. So your letter caught my eye that you actually want to give back to the elderly. It's not very common. Mm-hmm. And, like you said, we are losing our values. You've even just mentioned the nice part of what, how, I heard someone, if in the last year, she said she doesn't like black tax. For people who don't know what black tax is because it has become part of us. It's only when you go outside Nigeria you remember that's black tax. Black tax is what when they born you, know that you have aburos and you have younger ones. You will take care of them. You will send them to school. Yeah. You will take care of your parents. So that's what they call black tax. Mm-hmm. So it's very good. But so we don't see anything wrong with it. But in the Obodo Imbo, they gave it the name of black tax, right? Mm-hmm. There's a lot of dependence. There are many mouths that you are feeding, right? Yeah. And so taking care of our elderly is part of that. And what these days you find our parents are still working at the age of 60.
Oh yeah.
So they don't exactly. So there's no retirement, so to say, because if you retire 1 month or more, the person is gone. There's no pension to fall back on. It's the truth. It's the reality of things in our country at the moment. Mm-hmm. So, but I want us to delve on it a little bit before I go on to some of the government intervention, because due to your letter, I went to do, and a few months ago I actually heard it fleetingly that the Nigerian government is actually doing something about it. So I was very curious at Nigeria, they're thinking of the Senior Citizen Center. So I heard in 2021, there's a woman called Dr. M.M. Omokaro. She set up the Nigerian Citizens Center. And so a few months ago, again, just before President Buhari left here, they're doing something. And so I went to check their Twitter page, and of course it's filled with today's theme. Mm-hmm. Today is the International World
Elder Abuse Awareness Day.
Exactly. And so they have, a very graphic picture, which is where I was going next. You said we don't take care of our elderly. That's been putting it mildly. That's because we're even one-on-one. There's another part that is actually very violent. Where, most people don't know about senile dementia. When you get to a certain age, you start forgetting things. Yeah. And then we term them as witches and wizards. Mm-hmm. And so that's what they are actually, that's where I guess this focusing on. And so they say report abuse or violence against older persons for rapid response, rescue and remedy. Mm-hmm. A few days ago, I don't know if you saw the picture, there's a lady that was just standing in one, she was lost. She cannot tell you who she is, where she's coming from, who her family is. And social media era just, it has helped, but it has its downsides as well. Yeah. And so so whenever I see opportunities like this, that, someone wants to give back to, especially to the elderly, I'm always excited about it. And so that's what we're talking about it this afternoon. So thank you so much for joining us on Perspectives this afternoon. Our show has taken on a new dimension. We're talking about World Elder Abuse Day, which is today the 15th day of June. It is the annual commemoration for which is such a vital day that people that form such a, what they call it, you use this certain word, respected demographic, you know, in our society. People we don't think of. A few days ago, I was speaking with my HOD, and we highlighted how when we design things in Nigeria, we think parks, we think for young children, we design clubs for young people, right? Yeah. But for elderly people, what is the fun thing do they do for them, you know? So, I mean, have you thought about some of this, you know, ways? Because I'm very curious as to why your organization picked this theme. And I wanted to ask, is this the first time you're doing this, or is this an annual event?
Okay, yeah. So this is the first time we're shining the light on the elderly. Okay, but as a corporate, as an organization,
yes,
in providing software solutions to in Nigeria and the larger African market,
yes,
we are very particular about creating innovative solutions that meet the needs of humanity, basically. So maybe to you, you may be seeing it as a payroll solution, as a payment solution, but the spirit behind it, is about making life easier.
For everyone?
Yes, for the community, for the society, for you and I that will be interacting with the platform. So this year, for us as an organization, we released a product called Fundicus, that is targeted towards social causes, supporting social causes. Yes, and allowing individuals, groups, organizations come together, to be able to create campaigns, raise fundraisers, make it easy for you to reach a larger audience, and be able to get in more funds and be able to reach your targeted goal in a safe, and transparent manner. Yes. And one of the things that we looked at doing this year was to do something out of the box, something that is not,
this is
common,
really
like
out. Yes, it's not.
And we looked, in fact, particularly, we looked at ourselves starting from home. Charity, like they say, starts from home.
Yes.
So the popular letter that you're making reference to, that you said inspired you to do this, was us taking a break and looking back to say, even within our own business community, before we go to the national, all right, before you even go outward, why don't we even take a look at who is our immediate elder in our business community? What can we do, to encourage them, to support them? Because you see them daily, as you drive in, as you walk by, respectful, even at that age, inspiring even those of us. You just mentioned that those of us in the studio were all young. And guess what? We are heading towards the elder stage.
Yes,
in a couple of years.
Yes, we are.
So seeing them at times, is just an encouragement to you that these guys at this stage can still give back to their community. So we decided, why not take a break, start within our own business community, and shine the spotlight on this fantastic gentleman.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Debbie. So I like that we're in the same spirit. Just a few minutes ago, while I was preparing, I just thought, what example could I give? Because you have just touched on it, that the elderly, they are old does not mean they cannot still give back. That they cannot still contribute. Absolutely. So I remember there's a movie from 2015. I don't know if you're a movie person. So I'll just try. It's a movie by, there's a man called Robert De Niro. And he's a popular actor. And he did this movie called The Intern. The Intern is about a man who is 70 years old, a widower, and he realizes that he's not cut out for retirement just yet. So he applies to become a senior intern in a company, right? And the owner of the company is very Gen Z. So when you're talking about our age range, so on the show, there's something we often do, like, I'm a millennial. I was born in the 80s. I became a teenager by the year 2000, right? And so, but I often have Gen Zs on the show. I never really have, maybe baby boomer era. Yes. Exactly. So this movie resonated with me that this old man, he refused to retire at the age of 70. And he was, like you said, he came to work diligently every day and helped the Gen Z boss. He helped her arrange her, elderly people don't know how to file things and document it. So that was a brilliant, idea for me. And so while I was thinking of you today, I thought, this is what you are trying to encourage, not to segregate them, not to say, okay, they're done and, they finished their bit. Yes. So, but by you supporting them with this, I guess that's what you're doing. You're lifting them, and to make sure that, they're still relevant.
Relevant, absolutely. That's definitely very relevant. In fact, in Abuja office, where, should I say, the inspiration for all of this came. Oh, yes. A couple of years back, in fact, one of the people who has inspired me the most, I'm sure a lot of my colleagues can identify with, and even in the entire Systems group, those who've been around for a couple of years, there's one papa we used to call Baba Show.
Shout out to Baba Show.
Shout out to Baba Show, wherever you are. Guess what? Baba Show, he actually retired at 70.
Wow.
I haven't seen that before.
Yeah.
But just as you were mentioning, describing that man, it was as though you were just describing Baba Show. I tell you. Even in, national, some of the national projects that we've had to deliver in Nigeria, Baba Show was critical. Is it arrangement meticulous with attention to detail?
Yes.
That we don't get to sit.
Yes.
Permission to the Gen Z guys. I think they
have their uses. They have their uses, but I can totally relate.
Yeah. So having that ecosystem where you're able to relate with those from
senior citizens,
thank you. And then those of us in our own age range, and
who are the middle stragglers, handling both generations. So go on.
And then being able to infuse all of that, there's just this value chain, that's just reverberates and you can connect with. So definitely they're not done with life at all. And they're there to inspire us, and all we can do is to support them and let them know we recognize you. Even though you may not be able to do as much as we can, but we're here to support you and let you know you still have value to add.
Thank you so much. So this is very well said, and I like that it also coincides with the International United Nations World Elder Abuse Awareness, because there's actually an Older Person's Day, which is 1st of October.
Okay.
There's actually a World Older Person's Day. So, but this is a great place to take a break. I mentioned earlier that we usually take a break at 12 because this one is a paid advert for a call to prayer. In the meantime, we're having such a spirited conversation. You've been listening to the voice of the amazing Debbie Wale-Temoro and the silently whispering, smiling Miss Rachel. They're both from System Specs Technology Services Limited, and they've taken up a big cause this year to acknowledge these phenomenal people we've been talking about. If you have any comments, send us a message on WhatsApp on 0818 22 22 206 or 0818 22 22 205. We'll be right back.
This call to prayer is sponsored by the Nigeria Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله حي على حي على الصلاة حي على
We teach girls shame. Close your legs, cover yourself. We make them feel as though by being born female, they're already guilty of something.
So I think right now we have the chance to be heard, and that's why we're doing it. We're all doing it because we're asking to try and elicit change.
No woman should sit down and allow a man to speak about her reproductive rights.
But it is about opening spaces for other women and not to be seen as token, and that because I'm a woman, I'm only speaking about women at the table. No, I'm speaking about side of the table that is empty and that women have to be there. So I
want us to leave this world better than we found it. And how I choose to affect change is by speaking up, by being the first and by being the dominant.
Over 4 billion of the world's population are girls and women, also faced with challenges that affect our world and contributing solutions to them. Let's have conversations and get some answers to them through their eyes and voices. Tune in to Perspectives, where we discuss important issues ranging from climate change, politics, health, the economy, and lifestyle on Citizen FM 93.7 Abuja. Weekdays from midday. Perspectives. Conversations that matter.
"36 gone past midday. You are still tuned and listening to Perspectives here on Citizen FM 93.7 Abuja. Today we're having a spirited conversation about elderly abuse in Nigeria. And even though ours takes a different look compared to other countries, it still exists here. And I like that, the federal government took the initiative 2 years ago to start something, but I'm also glad to see that civil society is also bringing something to the table. So it means we're headed in the direction. There's one phrase that they know me for saying all this. I say that by the year 2050, Nigeria will have the youngest population in the world. Yeah, because the average percentage of we have a very young population. We don't, not like China and some other countries of the world, that the average population is 65 years and above. They have more elderly people. Here we have more. That's why, oh my God, they said it's him in Nigeria. You remember what they did to the former president, right? So I want to use that to speak with Ms. Rachel. Aha. Don't worry, it's not something heavy. I know, you've been following the conversation today, right? And you're also part of Specs. Is the name of the company Specs? System Specs, I beg your pardon, yes. And so when, your organization came up with this idea, what did you think about it? And was it something you were looking forward to participate in?
Sure, it's something I would definitely want to participate in, because our seniors, it is our expect. It's not until when they die that we don't start contributing money for expensive burials. Why don't we just show them love when they are still alive? Because today they are with us. How about tomorrow? We never can tell if they will be gone in the next 5 years or maybe in 2 days' time. So now that they are alive, I think it's an opportunity for us to channel our energy in any way we can to support them and give them the necessary support, whether financially or otherwise.
Yes. So thank you very much for that. That was because it's a very common thing. We can do elaborate burials. Mm-hmm. You can even bury them with cars, expensive coffins. And so I wanted to ask you, if you know that there are 2 days, right? There's World Elderly Abuse Awareness Day, because I'm very curious why your organization picked this, because there's World Older Persons Day, which is 1st of October. Why did you pick this particular date? Did you have any idea? Would you like to elaborate on that?
Okay. I would say it's because the World Elderly Abuse Day, it's closer, like we're in the month of June. So it is better we pick something that has to do with the month of June.
Okay.
The World Order Day, that's in October.
Yeah.
I think we'll still look at doing something. So
it actually even clashes with Nigeria's Independence Day.
Yes.
So yes. Okay. So that's why you picked that.
And because
if I may add,
yes, please go on. Please go on. Please go on.
If I may contribute
to
that, it was also just like you mentioned that government is beginning to look in that direction.
Yes.
And we are a strategic organization that supports. We are very deliberate about supporting governmental policies that come out.
Yes.
Because if we, the citizens, do not support, if we don't lend our voices, then there's a limit to which, even if the policies are put out there, who is amplifying it? Who is making sure the last man is getting to hear what's going on? And so that was part of the inspiration to also, support and be a part of the voice to the awareness of this particular, ill in the society. And it also resonates with one of the objectives, basically, of what the application that we provide, social causes. It also resonates. One of the objectives that we're looking to do is make impact in society, giving people, and communities an opportunity to make impact. And so shining the light on abuse, especially to the elderly, is one of the ways we can amplify, the efforts that the government has started, because a lot of people do not even know. Just like you said, our letter inspired you to go read more, and you were shocked to find out, there's actually a national senior citizen center that's been even created. How many of us even know that such interventions are going on? I even learned recently, I think this same month of June, that the center has signed an MOU with Smithon. Oh yes, just this June.
Yes, you are very correct. That is what. Yeah, go on, please.
Exactly, to empower
and bring them back. Those who are still interested in working. Yes, you're absolutely correct.
If we're not lending our voice to making sure to amplify
those voices,
what is going on, then really we wouldn't be sitting on the good side of the fence. Okay, pointing, accusing fingers. Government is not doing this, it's not doing that. So this is just another part of us, a part of we as a strategic organization lending our voice, to the good that government is introducing into the society.
Yes,
thank you.
Very well said, Debbie. Very well said. If you've just tuned in on Perspectives this afternoon, we're having a conversation around World Elder Abuse Awareness Day, and it was first established in 2011. And I like that our guests today, that is their CSR for this year. You've been hearing the voices of this amazing, I keep using amazing because it's something to be proud about. We're often excited about loud music, dancing, but we rarely ever give room for the elderly in a society. And even though we acknowledge, we respect them, respect is a part of our culture, yes? But there's this elderly abuse that we're neglecting. So I want to tell you a story. I don't know if you've heard it before. There's something happening in Nigeria now. We call it the Jackpot syndrome, right? A lot of us are relocating. We're moving to different shows. And who are we leaving behind? Our elderly, right? And so who do we leave them in charge of? What do you call extended family members. So because I want to talk about this abuse, I want us to throw light on it, because when we think of abuse, we're not saying maybe we're chancing our elderly. It's not just that. It's the elderly we leave at home who are only in touch with us via phone calls. We do WhatsApp video calls. We do, but it's not the same as seeing your family members. So there was this long epistle a few months ago about some man who has been in the UK for a while. He's the youngest of his siblings, and he's the one that is keeping in touch with the parents, with their dad. They left their dad in charge of someone else, an extended family member, in his own home. And he just noticed that for months, he said, daddy is ill. But, let him come to the phone. Let us speak with daddy. Send money. We'll take him to the hospital. When in actual fact, the man was bedridden. He was not well taken care of. And these relatives were just siphoning the money. And so this is even for people who can afford to say, okay, let us even send money, to someone to take. And so the man was very sad. And so he highlighted this elderly abuse issue because the realities are young Nigerians are going to different climes for a better life, right? And so they're leaving their parents who worked so hard all these years to send them to school in the first place. And, so it has become a syndrome. So, I mean, is it something that you've seen, so they are suffering for, what's that word now? You are trying to make a better life for, and a better legacy for your children. Yes. And then these children leave the country and go on to start new lives in another part of the world. So I don't know, is that part of something, is that part of the elderly abuse you're looking at, or it's
in fact that just throws a unique perspective to things, because the irony of things is that if you have met with some of the elderly that we're talking about, as senior citizens, you'll be shocked to hear their prayer point is that let my daughter get international
contracts.
You'll be shocked to know that even on the flip side of the coin, those we're trying to protect or talk about are also encouraging that move. Because at the same time, you look at the good intent of their hearts, just wanting more and better for their kids.
Yes.
But the truth is, even we as the younger ones, we must be extra careful to make sure we're not neglecting them and leaving them, without putting proper structure in place. Or if you're not, so no one is saying don't jump out, no one is saying don't go, but as you go, make sure you're not cutting the umbilical cord, if I may put it that way.
That's it.
Yeah, because don't just leave us here alone to, with all the struggle. Yeah, so that's an interesting piece.
Yeah, so I mean, I've thought about, this elderly care for a long time. There was a time, in fact, I was so excited about it. I said, I want to set up a daycare for senior citizens. That, how you go, your children go to creche, your older children go to school. The elderly people, what do? They sit at home, watch TV, take a walk around the estate. But because of the security situation in Nigeria, a lot of our walk, traveling around is reducing. So we are stuck indoors. So, but what do we do for elderly citizens? So I'm really happy that your system specs is the strange thing, you are a technology services limited. So I mean, I would have expected a social enterprise to take up this kind of cause. So but this shows that you are people oriented, and it's a cause to be proud of. Very well done. I like that you've started this year. I don't know what next year, I don't know whether it's going to be an annual event, I don't know how you're going to make of it. I don't know how big this is going to grow, but I trust you. But you're all on the right track.
Yeah. So we see it as a seed that we are sowing. So we'll see how things take on from here. So it's a seed we're sowing. Just like you said, it's the first time.
Yes.
But it's not our first intervention, if I may put it.
Okay. So tell me more about that.
Yeah. So when I talk about it, you mentioned that we're a technology organization.
Yeah.
All right. And I mentioned at the start, somewhere around the start, that we are committed to building solutions, that make impact, that are humanity driven.
Yes.
Okay, so a couple of years ago, even in the pension industry, there was a lot of highlight of system specs within that industry. Yeah, providing solutions to make sure we're allowing for pensions. Because there are two sides of preparing for your retirement age. For you and
this is a good place to have this conversation, because I'm frowning about one pension company. But please go on, enlighten me.
All right. So for you and I, we are in a structured environment where there's some form of allowance being dropped aside that we can probably reach out to later tomorrow as pension.
Yes.
There's a whole lot of people
that are not captured.
They're not even captured at all. So even sanitizing that structured environment, we have also systems has played a good role in making sure, there's a bit of sanity in making sure that we are able to remit at the right time, and then making sure that the whole ecosystem basically it works fine. So we've worked in that line. So that's also some way a way that we've contributed as well to the future of the workforce. And we keep contributing to the future of the workforce. So the present, the present workforce in quotes who are retired are the ones we are focusing on. In terms of this elder abuse and social causes, because even in the course of running this campaign and then putting out there a solution, a fund called solution for fundraising, we've reached out to several NGOs, and you'll be shocked that there are NGOs who are doing great things. In the area of
elderly.
Yes, the elderly. But like we said, this is all about amplifying what they are doing. A lot of people do not even know that such things are going on. We've met with a couple of NGOs, providing a solution to say you can come in and allow Nigerians be a part of what's going on. Let them even know what you're doing. By raising campaigns, doing fundraisers, and amplifying that, such services. And you'll be shocked that they're actually making an impact in their own way. And it's exciting to see government rise up to occasion by creating policies, allowing for an environment that allows them to thrive. So even though we have not yet scratched the surface, like a friend of mine was, telling me yesterday, she's into the health sector, that we've not even scratched the surface around help.
The possibilities.
Yeah, the possibilities around for the elderly. But it's a good place to start.
It is.
And all we're doing is lending our voice to amplify that message, to say we can do more. And providing technology solutions to allow people, you and I, to be a part of it, to allow even the bigger organizations to say, just like the campaign we're currently running, within our own immediate business community, to say, look, something is going on around here. Why can't you and I come together, pool our resources together, and make a difference, even in the life of a group of people?
So two things while we're winding down. Has it been successful though? The letters that you gave her, was there good feedback? Apart from the big picture that that to say, okay, there are NGOs actually doing this, but this big picture to raise funds, was it successful?
Okay, so far I'll say it's going fine. It could have done much better. Like I said, when you're breaking into a new field, it's not something people are paying such close attention to. But we've been surprised. We've had even people donating outside of Nigeria.
Beautiful.
So we're not restricting the access, all right, for donations just within this business community, even though that was the vision we started with. And we're trusting that even having this conversation, we would want to trust that there are other organizations who are listening and can tie into this vision and be a part of it. And we trust that it's going to be, at the end of the day, a successful outing.
I look forward to it. I'm going to follow it through because I'm interested in this particular one. So it was something you said just now while you were talking about how when people are doing something and they don't realize that, there's a possibility. There's a bigger example. Remember Hilda Bassi? Now everybody's doing a cookathon.
Exactly.
So imagine that
she did not take that step.
Exactly. So it's not like other people have not been trying Guinness World Records. There's the youngest person he's a Nigerian, the guy that is skipping. I can't remember. He has yes, as a young man, he has 17 Guinness World. He's broken it 17 times or thereabout, right? So that's one aspect. A few years ago, in fact, in the last decade, there's one prevalence that everybody in Nigeria has been crying about: gender-based domestic violence. Remember? And so that's why we set up NAPTIP, because I hear that the Senior Citizen Center was set up based on the NAPTIP Act. NAPTIP Act, they now have a registry for offenders. I mean, for years, you beat women, they end up dying. Why? Then you accuse the women. You were blaming the victims, right? Saying, why do you keep staying with such kind of men? So, but we now had a register that, okay, if you have offended in these states before, if you've been, maybe what's that word, they've given you a warning. If you commit the offense again, you are going to go to jail. Or, when we start penalizing domestic violence. See how we're all aligning, and the outcry, and each state is making effort. So I like that it's the same direction this is going to take as well. You're very correct. Elderly persons, we just do the usual. You see an elderly person, greets them, respect. But what of the big picture? When you retire, what do you do? Your pensions. I mean, we're tired of hearing stories of people coming with all their documents and dying at pensions office. So I like that. There's a big picture, like your friend says, and there's a lot that can be done if we all put it. Because what are we saying? At the most, you have 100 years on this planet. You too, you will get to that age, right? And so if you don't sow the seed forward, if you don't do the things that you're supposed to do, it will meet you there as well. So while you are alive, hale and hearty, while you are an Oga boss or Oga madam, so do the policies that will favor everyone.
Because you will even in turn come to enjoy it.
Exactly.
Because if you lay the bed right, put the right structure in place, by the time you and I and falling into that, category of the elderly, we're going to be reaping that benefit.
Yes, we are.
Okay, and there's a part of it I also want to. There's another dimension that I like to shed light on as well. In creating policies, you'll be shocked that even public spaces, we don't even take cognizance of. There are elderly people. We put
buildings.
There are staircases. Mounting up.
No ramps.
But there are different NGOs, or should I say civil society organizations, speaking for different bodies of people. But you hardly ever hear advocacy for the elderly.
Yes.
And they are vital. Take for instance the just concluded elections. That was the just concluded elections. How many people, how many social organizations came together to say, what policies are being put in place for the elderly?
Yes.
There was a lot of, awareness and around those living with disability.
Yes.
It came very prominent in this last
election. Yes, because 2019 there was a lot of outcry of segregation. So please go on.
Exactly. So why, this is another opportunity to say, can we please shed or shine the light on these guys, because they are important to us. They are your mother, they are my mom, they are your dad, they are our uncles, and they are pretty much you and I in a couple of years to come.
Very well said. So thank you for that angle. So whenever we are voting for our constituency members, house of something, these are things that we should ask them. Because our elderly, they don't live in the village anymore. Even our villages have become cities now, right? And we are not considering, the elderly people amongst us. So there are so many ways that we abuse them. Maybe in Nigeria, ageism is not so big. Just because you are old, what do you have to offer? In fact, in Africa, we actually honor and respect our elder, because every tribe recognizes that honor your father and your mother so that your days may be long, right? So we all recognize that.
Absolutely.
And so putting that into the constitution, putting policy to back it up, just makes it, fun to look forward to us aging, growing old, and, fulfilling our purpose, here on Earth.
And it will even drive down crime rates.
It will.
You'll be shocked.
It will.
Because the drive just to make sure you want to be able to take care of your parents drives a lot of people into... You can see the unemployment numbers in Nigeria. It's not funny at all. And just like you mentioned at the start of this conversation, that's the black tax that you were talking about. Exactly. Pretty much every one of us inherits a black tax.
Yes.
Because you're not only taking care of yourself, especially if you are working.
My goodness. Extended family. Your mother will just come and whisper in your ear and say, don't forget to, they will be sending you messages.
And it's not their fault.
It is the reality.
It's just the reality. So the earlier, we put policies in place that help to, mitigate or reduce that risk, that burden, even on the younger generation. Okay, by government putting policies in place, social, basic social infrastructure available for maybe healthcare. Basic healthcare. My mom was trying to just to get the health insurance, and she was told to come back 3 months. Anything. Rachel said it. 2 days.
Yeah.
1 week. We don't pray for it, but they are more susceptible at that stage.
Age.
So, but putting in place, just little, a couple of all these social interventions can really make a whole lot of difference. At the airports, how are we? You're climbing stairs to get into
the distance.
The distance. Are we taking into?
I hope the right people are listening. I hope the right people are listening. So believe it or not, it's 1 o'clock already. See how the time? Yes, the time flew by so fast, right? Wow. And so I want to say something that eventually, when you're presenting, you're going to do a formal presentation of whatever the outcome of this to the elderly person. I would love to, attend that ceremony. Yes, I would love to be part of it. Definitely. To see how that was. But congratulations. This is very well done. This was very beautiful. I mean, this is what they call thinking outside the box. Really, this was the perfect. So congratulations to System Specs Technology Services, and I wish you all the best in all your endeavor. And thank you so much for making this a wonderful conversation, Debbie and Rachel.
And it's worthy of note. It's worthy to note that as part of your own contribution to the success of the campaign, you gave us this airtime free of charge. You see, you're also playing your part in amplifying this. Yeah. So thank you so much. We don't take it for granted at all.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you for having us. Look forward to another exciting time until next week on Perspectives. Here's me saying bye-bye. Enjoy the rest of your day. Our news at the top of the hour is up next.
Cover yourself. We make them feel as though by being born female, they're already guilty of something.
So I think right now we have the chance to be heard, and that's why we're doing it. We're all doing it because we're asking to try and elicit change.
No woman should sit down and allow a man to speak about her reproductive rights.
But it is about opening spaces for other women and not to be seen as token, and that because I'm a woman, I'm only speaking about women at the table. No, I'm speaking about side of the table that is empty and that women have to be there. So
I want us to leave this world better than we found it. And how I choose to affect change is by speaking up, by being the first, and by being the dominant.
Over 4 billion of the world's population are girls and women, also faced with challenges that affect our world and contributing solutions to them. Let's have conversations and get some answers to them through their eyes and voices. Tune in to Perspectives, where we discuss important issues ranging from climate change, politics, health, the economy, and lifestyle on Citizen FM 93.7 Abuja. Weekdays from midday. Perspectives. Conversations that matter.
93.7 Citizen FM.
This is 93.7 Citizen FM, Abuja.
The time is 1 o'clock.
Time for news on the hour.
Good afternoon. Thanks for staying with us here on Citizen FM 93.7 Abuja. This is the news on the hour. The Nigeria Labour Congress says it has proposed a wage award to the federal government to cushion the effects of petrol subsidy removal on workers and Nigerians. Joe Ajero, NLC president, said this Wednesday at the ongoing 111th session of the International Labour Conference in Geneva, Switzerland. Mr. Ajero said the proposal is part of the agreement reached with the government during the negotiation on the removal of fuel subsidy. According to him, the agreement the NLC had with the government is not minimum wage. He says the agreement with them is wage award and it must be understood clearly. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, and the Narcotics Control Bureau of India have agreed to collaborate to block the traffic of illicit drugs between Nigeria and India. The NDLEA made this known via its official Twitter handle on Wednesday. The chairman and CEO of the NDLEA, Brigadier General Muhammad Buba Marwa, retired, who signed the MOU on behalf of Nigeria's top anti-drug agency, says the action represents a strong partnership in the effort to eradicate cases of drug abuse and illicit drug trafficking in the two nations. Marwa said the government of both countries remains committed to eradicating the problem posed by illicit substances. The Indian High Commissioner to Nigeria and head of the Indian delegation, Sri Balasubramanian, who signed on behalf of his country, pledged to ensure the enforcement of the provisions of the MOU. And in sports, Nigeria has dropped to second place In the Group A of the 2024 Africa Cup of Nations qualifying series, Guinea-Bissau are now top of the group as a result of the 1-0 victory over Sao Tome and Principe on Wednesday in Lusophone Derby. The win takes Guinea-Bissau to top 10 points from 5 games with a 1-point lead over Nigeria. Guinea-Bissau will qualify for the tournament if Sierra Leone fails to beat the Super Eagles in the other group game on Sunday. And that's the Citizen FM News on the Hour. Thanks for listening. Good afternoon.
93